So Carlos, first of all, welcome for being here with us today. I've known Carlos a long time, but we're just now kind of getting to start to work together in this new area of technology. So let's talk about recycling your technology. I'm moving, I've got a bunch of stuff and, I don't know what I want to keep or, protect or whatever. So where do you guys step in and help us with that?
So basically on the technology recycling, anything that's used, new, working, it's something you do not want, we come by and pick it up, we bring it back to our facility, and we actually take that and dispose of it in multiple ways, but either way, it's following EPA guideline regulations of how to dispose of it. Nothing ends up in a landfill. It's either scrap for metal, plastics, or it's actually refurbished and resold. In the case of a computer, all the data would be wiped out. We also provide the homeowner with a certificate of destruction and a release of liability. So that way, if for some reason it ever gets out that, hey, this belonged to you and it into a landfill and we want to find you, they have the safe peace of mind that says, no, I got rid of this equipment the proper way and it went to CDE. They need to take care of the issue.
So that sounds like a great thing, especially for the older folks who aren't necessarily tech savvy, and then for somebody who just doesn't have time, but they've got a bunch of old computers still sitting around the house or whatever, and they don't use them anymore, but they do have, potentially valuable information, as in social security numbers, whatever the case may be, that they don't want anybody potentially getting their hands on. So this would be the great avenue for that, right?
Yes, and the other thing that most people don't realize is with technology, they think of all the data just being on their PC. But it's actually, printers have memory in them. And people don't realize when you're printing out document after document, that stuff is stored on the printer. So if you get rid of your printer, somebody can actually go into the memory of that printer and pull up the records of everything you've printed back to a certain date. So if you printed out tax returns, if you printed out anything that has to do with your financial information, that's stored in the memory of that printer. And if the memory's not wiped out and cleaned before you get rid of it, somebody can actually go back and get that data off that printer.
Wow, that's incredible. So I had no idea that stuff was stored on printers from that standpoint. Wow, that's incredible. Any other equipment that we're not thinking about that would be?
That's the main one that most people miss. But pretty much our philosophy will take anything that's not wood.
Wow.
If it's wood, I mean, there's nothing really can do with it. It's we try not to put anything in a landfill if we possibly can help it. Electronics definitely never do, but if it's wood, there's really nothing you can do besides donate it to a local charity like Goodwill or something like that.
Right. Well, that's incredible. I had no idea about the printer situation, so I've learned something today. So that's great. All right. So home security. So let's talk about, there is an existing system or there isn't an existing system. How do we come into play there?
So basically what we'll do is we'll come in and do an evaluation of the home.
Okay.
Some homes are pre-wired with hardwired sensors, some have nothing at all. So depending on what the homeowner has in the house and what they're wanting to achieve, we can accommodate any needs. If the system is existing hardwired and it's got an existing system, most times we'll probably replace the panel, just because a lot of these panels, some can be reprogrammed, some can't. So in most cases, we'll at the very least replace a panel if they're just wanting a basic system.
Is the panel what would be in the, I call it usually the gray security box that's in your closet, or are you talking about?
No, we're talking about the panel that you actually use to arm and disarm. Yes,
okay.
That you arm and disarm.
Okay, so when you come to an existing home, and let's say the system that's there, I'm just ballparking, 20 years old, or 25 years old, is that something you can still work with, or is there a point where it gets too old that you're going to have to redo it?
It's, like I said, we place the panel just for safety mechanisms, but we will test all the contacts. So if we have any contacts, so the hardwire contacts that are bad, we can replace them with wireless contacts.
Okay.
Now some individuals, if you think of an old security system, and they're usually done by zones.
Right.
And so it'll say zone 1 open.
Right.
Okay, well you could have 4 windows, 3 doors on zone 1, you don't know what it is.
Right.
So what we're able to do with wireless contacts is we can actually label each entry point that says front door, back door says it's open. It'll actually tell you which one is open, not just a zone is open.
Gotcha.
So some owners may want to just completely go away from the hardwired system and go with a wireless system completely.
Right. So basically you can pinpoint it rather than having to guess.
That's correct.
All that stuff. Okay. So of course you hear a lot about, I say Ring or that type of situation. So we have systems, or you have systems that we can put cameras and all different types of stuff that work with your remote devices and everything else, correct?
That's correct. So most people think of a home security system as just that. It's just something you arm and disarm as you leave, so nobody steals the goods in your house. But it's actually above and beyond that now. It carries into the home automation. So with a single system, you can literally have your garage doors controlled with it, your front, back doors controlled with it, entry points controlled with it, lights controlled with it, thermostat controlled with it, to the point that we can set up what's called geofencing with your system. So you literally can walk away from your house, and once you leave a certain point from your house, it'll shut your garage door for you, turn the thermostat up for you, lock your doors, arm your alarm system, turn your lights off or on, whatever you choose, and you never even took your phone out of your pocket, you just left.
And the reason I'm laughing, there was a customer of mine who had a house he had with Siri, and I'd have to show the house. Every time it was shown, I had to be there, and I'd have to walk in and go, Siri, lights on, and so it was weird. That was my really first experience.
Oh yeah, you can do the same thing with the system that we sell. It ties in with the Alexa system, so you can say, Alexa, turn living room lights on, and it'll turn it on.
Right. So yeah, it's extremely cool. And now let me ask you a question. So let's say you're driving and you go, oh crap, I'm sorry about that. I think I left open my garage door. Is that something you can check from your system?
So within our application, you can view all your cameras, you can view all your garage doors, you can view your front door, back door, anything you have that's tied to the security system, you can view from a single application. So you can pull that application up, and if you have two garage doors, it'll say left and right, it'll say open or close. And with a single button, it'll send a signal and close the garage doors. You can literally lock every single house, every single door in your house with a single button.
Wow. So then I think having a one-stop shop where you don't have to go this or put it in yourself, or one guy can handle everything. And I think that's a really, really valuable tool, especially when you're in the middle of moving and you don't have time to get all this stuff set up. Having somebody come do this, I think, is an outstanding opportunity for you. So by chance, is it also hooked into pools or anything, or is it?
Yeah, they've got all kinds of features that we can add to the system. We've got flood sensors that we can put near dishwashers or hot water heaters. I know that's one thing I've seen many times, even in my neighborhood alone, where the hot water heater busted, nobody's home, they come home and everything's flooded. Well, if you have a flood sensor on there, as soon as it detects moisture, it's going to send you a notification. So at the very least, you can get somebody to go turn your water off before you have a major damage.
And that sounds like, especially for somebody who's got their water heaters in their attic and have no idea because they don't go up there type of situation. Boy, that sounds like that might be worth it right there.
And it's not just water heaters. It actually happened to me recently in my house, where you get a lot of people that they have the drain lines for your AC units, and those get clogged up and it gets backed up. Water starts building in the pan, it starts leaking onto the roof and in the ceiling, and you come home. So there's many applications for it.
Oh, yeah.
But even into people that have safes, gun safes in their house, you can put a sensor on the gun safe that notifies you if somebody's opened that gun safe. They even actually have trigger locks for the physical guns themselves, that if somebody picks up that gun and moves it, it'll send you a notification alarm that gun's been moved. So it takes it beyond just the home security into home safety. As we say, protecting your greatest investment, which isn't your house, it's not your materials, it's your family. That's your greatest investment.
That's incredible. So you would basically set up an appointment with Mr. and Mrs. Smith, going to their home and basically do just an analysis of everything that they might be thinking about, along with things they may not be thinking about, right?
Right. We walk through with the homeowner, and we want to find out what they feel their needs are, and then based on looking at the layout of the house, we will point out, have you thought about X, Y, and Z, this safety feature? If they have a pool and they have a fence around the pool, have you thought about putting a sensor on the pool gate? So that way, if somebody's opened that gate, if you have little ones. So there's many things that we look at that maybe the homeowner hasn't thought of.
Wow. So I guess you have basically a checklist that you'll sit down and go through with them, just to say, hey, do you have this, or do you have that, or whatever the case.
Yeah, and we make it very simple. So we actually have a sheet that every sales rep has, and it lists all the components that we have on there, and we let the homeowner actually build out their package. And a big majority of the products we can actually give it no cost. So we try to work with them the best we can, because we know obviously a lot of people's budgets are tight. So we work with the homeowner. So we say, hey, we can give you all X, Y, and Z, a certain amount of equipment free for each homeowner, so they can build the package how they want to.
Gotcha. And how long would this evaluation typically take?
We're usually in and out of most houses, depending on the homeowner, 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how long the conversation goes with the homeowner.
Right.
Some like to have longer conversations, which we're fine with that. It just depends on how big the house is and what we need to look at.
Okay. And do you price it out at that time when you're sitting at the table?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. And then, I'm using a vague term here, but on a average, we'll call it your typical job, would be probably the better way to state it. How long would it take to set all that up?
So depending on what all the equipment they have, whether they're used to a takeover all new, it can literally be anywhere from 30 minutes to a 3-hour job. What usually tends to take the longest is camera systems,
Mm-hmm.
and that's more or less running and finding power. And you know how it is getting
Sure.
around attics and trying to run power for that.
Right. So one of the things that we have, a lot of people now, they're wanting to, mount their big TV or whatever, or put it, outside kitchen or whatever the case may be. But you guys can set up all that, the TV and network and all that, correct? Is that right?
That's correct. So what we list ourselves as a total home concierge service.
Right.
We're a one-stop shop. So most likely when you move into a home nowadays, you have to call DirecTV or AT&T to get your TV set up. You have
Right.
to call somebody to get internet to hang your TV. We do it everything from A to Z.
Including hanging TV.
Including the hanging TV. So we can do everything from hanging a TV onto the wall, outside TV, to a full outdoor entertainment system, subwoofers, even to a full home theater system. And we even take the automation to the next level for that audio or video file, to where you can literally control every audio and video aspect from a single application.
Wow.
You can literally walk in, hit a single button, turn the theater lights off, turn the projector on, turn it on to the source, and start watching TV.
How cool is that? That is really, really cool. So now, do you guys do commercial stuff too? Like go into companies and
We
set
do.
up their, their training rooms or whatever the case would be? Or
Yeah, so we do commercial, and we do commercial security, standalone CCTVs, security systems.
Right.
We've done some, up to 32 cameras plus. We also do conference rooms, whether they're wanting an interactive solution where they can, we'll use an engineering firm for an example, and they want to bring up a CAD drawing, they want to be able to annotate right there on the wall.
Sure.
We can set up an interactive solution, whether it be a TV or projector. And again, that can be a very basic system
Right.
to a full automated system where they walk in, hit a single button, and projector turns on, everything's taken care of, screen comes down. So again, it's literally, we have a solution that fits every need and every budget. And we don't look at just, budget's a key piece, but it also comes down to what are the needs of the user. And that's what we really work on with each homeowner or commercial entity. What are your needs? What do you want to accomplish? And we try to fit that into what we can based on what your budget is, not the other way around.
I understand. So I would think that your estimate would basically be, for lack of a better term, acquisition of whatever equipment you might need, and then once all that's done, that's one set of pricing, so to speak, and then ongoing maintenance or monitoring. Would that be basically correct?
That's correct. So on the security system, you have monthly monitoring rate, which again, depending on how much equipment you're getting,
Right.
that's what determines your monitoring rate.
Okay.
If you have a very basic system that there's no automation, there's
Right.
no video, it's a lower price. As you get into the video, stuff like that, there's little slight increases. When I say slight, you're talking anywhere from $5 to $10 increases. Nothing substantial.
Okay.
And then above beyond that, so the service is guaranteed on all the equipment. It's got a lifetime warranty on the equipment and on the service. And we also honor all of our equipment that we install on the commercial side as well.
Okay. And so who monitors the, assuming they've got it set up, in case, alarm goes off, please call the police or whatever the case may be.
So it's actually monitored by 24/7 facility.
Okay.
When they call, when it happens, for example, our system, we have the
Right.
same system. When it calls in, literally it's seconds from the time the system comes off.
Okay.
And they usually call on behalf of CDE, and they say this, they speak it really fast because they're trying to get to you, so you can't understand it, but it's monitored by 24/7, 365-day call support, call
Good.
center.
Yeah, that's very good, because I know as an agent, sometimes we get the security system, sometimes the code, sometimes we don't. We've been known to set off one or two along the way, and sometimes it's our fault, sometimes it's not, that type of situation. So, but meaning that, they just forgot to give us the code.
Yeah, that
on a new listing, not on an existing one. So, all right. So, other items that maybe we're not touching on that you want to elaborate on?
So the biggest difference in today's security systems that you couldn't do before is because they're all tied to the internet and the way they are into the cloud, is we're able to be more proactive when it comes to issues that the homeowner has. And what that means is our system will actually notify us if your doorbell camera goes offline, or if a sensor is not working.
Right.
So we've actually showed up at a schedule with a customer, called them and said, hey, we noticed that your doorbell camera is offline, we need to send a technician
And
out.
they had no idea.
And they had no idea that it wasn't working, but we knew.
Right.
So that way we're trying to get ahead of it and make sure the customer's taken care of, not waiting for them to call us and say they have a problem.
Wow. So, okay, so if the folks are buying an existing home, is it something you would just go in afterwards, or do you like to actually try to, in theory, get in there before it closes?
We would like to get in before it closes. It all
Right.
depends on what rules they have. I've had some homeowners that
Right.
they were
We just
able
have
to
to,
get.
yeah, we'd have to make an appointment, and I'd
Yeah.
have to meet you, or whoever the agent is.
Correct, and we've done that recently where the agent was able to get us access to that, so that
Right.
way the homeowner was protected from day one when they moved in.
Any challenges with new construction, meaning that versus an existing house?
No, none at all. I mean,
Or is it easier? Because
we
of
actually find some of the newer construction to be easier for us, especially, they make it more, they tend to put power in the attic.
Right.
They tend to have more attic space to crawl space. It's the
Right.
really older houses.
We have more difficulty.
Correct. And then the other difficulty that we have, and this again, something we can do is we can set up users home network, is all these cameras are wireless nowadays.
Right.
You can do wireless, but they're wireless. So if you have an older ranch style house, really long house,
Right.
from one end to the other end, since it's wireless, you can tend to lose that signal at the other end. So then we can go in and set up the homeowner's Wi-Fi network
Right.
across the whole house, and not just for the cameras, but that way everybody in the house is getting the same level of quality from their internet than the person sitting closest to the access point.
Alright.
Which most people nowadays, that's become more and more
Right.
a need. I want to be able to
Sure.
sit out in the
Yeah.
back patio and,
Right.
and use my phone.
Or you got you're downstairs on your wireless laptop, and the kiddo is up there is trying to do something on a gaming system, and you're
Yep.
both fighting for
Correct.
bandwidth, for lack of a better term.
Yep.
Type of situation. So what about being out in the county or country as it's referred to, where in theory you're getting, poor phone reception, to give you an example. So does that affect anything as far as what you guys do?
So what we offer there is again, for camera systems, you have to have internet connection.
Right.
And out in the rural areas, you have a tendency to have very, very low speeds.
Right.
So we also offer, again, as part of our home concierge service, we offer internet solutions, whether it be AT&T or Viasat high-speed satellite internet.
Okay.
So no matter where the homeowner's at, they are able to have the internet connection that they need.
Yeah, because I think that's a concern for a lot of people when we were out there showing homes, especially, again, as we call it out in the country. And, they're looking at their phone and they can't get anything and go, how the heck am I gonna, I work out of my house or whatever, and I need to have, faster, internet.
Yeah. Again, so we've made sure we positioned ourselves to be able to provide a product for, I would say, 99% of the people out there. There's always going to be that
Sure.
one-off
Oh, yeah,
that
no,
there's just
yeah,
not a
no, I
solution
get it.
for, but
Sure.
we've tried to position ourselves with the best products that we can,
Right.
and based upon the service level that we know we're going to get from those manufacturers in the industry.
So is your service area just basically all of Dallas-Fort Worth, or how far do we go outside of that?
So we cover all of Texas right now. We all cover all of Texas,
Okay.
Louisiana. We are in the process of getting licensed. With security systems, you have to get licensed in each state. So we're in the process of getting licensed in Arkansas, Mississippi, Colorado. We can sell in, and we're growing
Right.
as we go above and beyond. So right now, all of Texas definitely, and Louisiana as well.
Fantastic. All right. Anything else you want to add?
I think we covered everything.
All right. Well, why don't you give us a plug on your website, email, and your phone number?
So you can visit us at www.cdessa.com. You can reach us at 844-400-4901. And my email address, for any email sales, at cdessa.com.
And again, you can click on our YouTube link to view this entire interview at your leisure. Carlos, thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Thank you.
you.